Good morning, everyone. I have a quick question for you. Why do some people study English for years but still struggle to speak naturally? Also, why do some learners improve quickly while the others feel stuck even after memorizing grammar and vocabularies? Well, there is already a brief answer about this question, such as if you want to improve your speaking skills, you need to practice more often than usual. And if you want to improve your lingual skills more quickly, you need not only just memorizing the grammatical manners and vocabulary unit, you also need to understanding the grammatical manners. But those questions is still to surface. So today I want to introduce a book that explores those questions more deeply. My name is Syauqi with student ID 142. Today I would like to introduce a book entitled Understanding Second Language Process. This book is not only about learning English but also how human mind process second language actually are. And surprisingly, for some people, this book might completely change the way they see language learning process. This book is mainly discussed about psychological and cognitive process behind second language acquisition. It's contains 11 chapters as you can see on the screen. And the main reader of this book is English educational students such as me, language researchers, language teachers, and advanced language learners who want to understand how language learning actually works. Unlike ordinary grammar books, this book less focus on what to learn, but more to how to learn. Uh, they questioning about what happened inside the learner's brain during language acquisition. One interesting point is that many chapters connect classroom teaching with cognitive psychology and linguistic research. So rather than giving a simple tips such as practice more vocabularies, practice more often, this book asks about why does practice work and how does memory affect language processing. Didn't stop there. It's also questioning why do learner often misunderstanding meaning, and that make this book academically rich and intellectually challenging to read. But of course, even a good academic book is not perfect. So now let's talk about the strengths and weaknesses of this book. One of the strengths of this book is deep at academical insight. This book is not simplify language learning. Instead, it's explain complex process such as learner's attention, working memories, and multi-competence theory. For an example, in chapter about working memories, the book explains how limited cognitive resources affect second language process. This helps readers understand that language learners is not simply about being smart or studying hard. Sometimes the brain itself processes information differently under pressure. And honestly, this perspective can reduce unrealistic expectation in language classroom. Like you could mastering the language within just several months, and it's actually unrealistic. The second strength is this book is completely research-based discussion. Almost every chapter of this book includes its own theories, its own experiments, its own data, and also studies on the classroom. For future teacher, it's valuable because it trains reader to think critically instead just accepting teaching method blindly. The book encourages readers not to just simply accept what the teacher just said, but also questioning them, like why should this method works, or why do we need to use this method? Why not the other method that more cling to us, let's say. And after the strengths, it's also have a weaknesses. For an example, that me myself feels this book is difficult for beginners. Many chapters contain academical terminology from linguistics, cognitive psychology, and second language acquisition theories. So for beginners, it would feel overwhelming. From this weakness, I suggest you if you want to use this book for learning, it's better for you to ask your teacher to explain this book, or maybe you can hire a tutor for accompany you during your learning process. Another weaknesses is dense writing style. Some chapters are highly formal and research oriented. This makes certain section feel slow and difficult to follow. So for you that still struggle with formal English, this book might just make you more confused about the material and the languages. After those weaknesses, you might questioning about why we should read this book. Well, for me, the question is quite simple because many people learn language mechanically. They didn't actually understanding how the learning process itself. This book is remind us that language learning is not a magical appearance. It involves your memories, your attention, your cognition, your emotion, your environment, and also your interaction. So all those aspects is really important to support your language acquisition. Imagine teaching students without understanding how learners process information. We might blame the student for being lazy, for not paying attention to our classes. But this book helps us more reflective to the learners. Instead of asking those questions, we would begin to ask what process is blocking my progress, and this shift is actually powerful. I also think this book is valuable for students who enjoys linguistics, psychology, education, and of course critical thinking. This book is might not easy to read, but difficult books sometimes give deeper insight than the easy one. And honestly, this book feels like a motivational with motivational challenge, let's say, but it's open the engine of language learning itself. So, would I recommend this book? I would like to say it's partially yes, especially if you are an English student, an English educational student, a researchers, and also a future teachers who want to understand language acquisition more seriously. And I would like to remind you once again that this book is not perfect. It this book is dense, this book is complex, and this book is academical demanding. That's why I suggest you to hire a tutor or ask whether it's your lecturer or your teacher to accompany you during your learning session with this book. But at the same time, it offers something very valuable, a deeper understanding of how humans learn language. And maybe once we understand the process better, we can also become better learners and better teachers. That's all I can tell, even though my speaking is bad. I hope you can understand. Thank you for all your attention. Billahi taufiq wal hidayah. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.